Hey y'all, welcome back to the food forest. You're in luck because spring's here in southern Louisiana. Let's go see what's growing. Come on. Looking across, you can see that iris are starting to bloom, more of them, and there's tons of buds in there, so we're gonna have so many iris soon. These swales are getting mighty tall with clover. It's a cushy forest in here, but no-mow March is coming, and I'm going to continue no-mow February into no-mow March, and I'm going to let all of these wild plants grow for another month before I check them. The willow is taking off again. I'll be able to start shaping some of these branches and working on my arch again soon. Hopefully the frost won't set that back again. Both pears are now leafed out, and I'm surprised this one doesn't have flowers on it, but maybe that'll be later in a few months. Speaking of flowers, these blueberries are just loaded, and we've been getting a bunch of the blueberry bees. It's a bee that's pollinizes only blueberries, and they're active for just a few weeks out of the year, and then they go dormant. But you can see this thing is loaded with little baby blueberries, and we've got 12 of these bushes. So some of them are just leafing out, don't have any flowers. Others just a few flowers and no leaves. So it's a mixture of what's going on. I planted a new Pakistan mulberry cutting here. The sweet potatoes are starting to come back all along this swale. This swale was covered in sweet potatoes, and these are the purple ones that are coming back here. So I'm really happy because I like that one better, and that seems to be what's coming up everywhere around here. Other trees on this side are still asleep. You can see the pomegranate is really waking up now. This is that iris bud I discovered last video, and it's now bloomed. And this one's done, but there's flower bud, flower bud, flower bud, flower bud. So they're everywhere. Right there, right there. Also, some of the amaryllis are starting to come up, and I rebuilt my yin yang. It needs a little bit of work on it. I was kind of in a hurry because the mosquitoes started biting me, but it looks better than it used to. Also, we've got baby roselle coming up from seed here in this area. I had a giant, my biggest roselle was right here, and so some of the seed pods are germinating. This nectarine may even make a piece of fruit this year with all these flowers. I don't know. We'll see. If it only makes one, I might leave it on so we can try it. Actually, if it does it on this branch, I might leave it. This branch doesn't look as strong, so. Oh, here we go. I just noticed this. The Santa Rosa plum is starting to wake up. That's new. Concerned about this Chilean guava here. We'll see if it's dead or if it comes back. I'm not really sure. It's getting mobbed by skullcap here. Let me clear some of that away from the base. The skullcap is all over my swales, or the berms rather, but it has such pretty flowers, so I don't mind it. And I think it's a cancer treatment or some sort of anti-cancer properties. This redbud's really starting to leaf out now. It's super happy. Also over here, I've noticed the ajuga skullcap everywhere. The ajuga are really starting to bloom. So that'll be nice right by the door. This side's starting to get flower buds as well on the iris. And I showed y'all last time, I haven't planted this persimmon yet, but I will work on a video for that soon and detail the process. I'm surprised, but these bananas actually survived. I plan to use these for just chop and drop. This one's kind of in the swale, but we'll have a spot to walk by. And then this one, in between the feijoa, I spaced them so that if it came back up, it wouldn't be an issue. We've got violets all in the swales and wild geraniums as well. Let's see, here's more violets, and trying to find a geranium with a flower. They're so tiny, so it's kind of hard to see them. I don't know if they're just not open at this time of day or what, but I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing lots of the geranium plants themselves, but not any of the flowers. The vetch is starting to bloom and flower over here. I'm probably going to pull that up before it goes to seed. And things like this hairy bittercress, which is another spicy mustard relative, is flowering and making seeds all over my yard. This back area, I did a lot of work. I was leaving all of this goldenrod and aster for the birds for cover, and they were really enjoying it. But the goldenrod and aster are really starting to come up underneath all of that. So I decided it was time to trim back all those dead sticks, and I made a hedge over here along the fence line for critters to hang out in. And here's that elderberry I planted from a cutting that I took, and this area is just going to be crazy beautiful. It's going to be so awesome. Just so much yellow. I'm thinking of trimming these at different times of the year and at different heights, or maybe just different heights at the same time of year, and that way I'll have a tiered effect with the flowering. That might be it for this side. The swales finally dried up. Like, I just couldn't get a chance to get in here and dig, so I'm probably gonna work on digging this out over the next few days when I get time, and we'll see. It doesn't take long. It's just having the right soil moisture conditions, because you don't want this clay to be sticking to all the roots, but you also don't want it to be bone dry and rock hard. Alright, we've warped on to the other side and we're now magically in my backyard. Wanted to show you all this kalanchoe that's really in full bloom now and just looking beautiful. There's some sour flower in there, oxalis, purple oxalis. Wanted to show y'all my cuttings and how well they're doing right now. The Persian mulberries are starting to leaf out again. This isn't a cutting, but it's my hardy kiwi, and I'm really excited that it's starting to leaf out. I'm going to put it in the ground this year. These Suicene mulberry cuttings are just gorgeous. The corkscrew willow, more willow. This is willow from a native that I took cuttings from, and they're rooting really well. Also, these are my oldest Pakistan mulberry cuttings. They're probably really well rooted in there and probably need to be moved into their own pots. But I've also got some figs back here. You get the tiniest little stick from your fig, you can stick it in the dirt and you'll get a fig out of it. Pretty amazing. The roses, sorry about the glare. This isn't the best time of day, but you can see the roses. Chubby, Chubby, Chubby. That dog is like 4 times bigger than you. You're crazy. Go on. Anyway, over here I've got my jujube that I grew from seed last year, and they're kind of tiny, nothing to brag about, but they are alive, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm gonna get these into bigger pots with some better dirt this year, and maybe see if I can get some fruit next year and find a good one to plant. My grow bags are all set up. Chubby, hush. Stop, dude. I've got potatoes in these 4, and then these 9 smaller ones have a bush bean dragon tongue, and these all have cherry tomatoes. So we're gonna get lots of cherry tomatoes this year, 5 different varieties. Over here we did runner beans and cowpeas, yeah, black-eyed peas. So those are coming up, the black-eyed peas are, and I'm sure the runner beans that are on the back row will come up soon, and then I'll install a trellis between them. The stevia finally growing back. Bananas back here are leafing out. Back here we have a kids garden in the works, and we got some Suicene mulberry in there and a Pakistan mulberry. We've got another Pakistan mulberry on this side, and we're going to add a few more things in there for Asher. The chickens, with their bird brains, decided they wanted to keep digging rocks into this hole I dug for them, and of course that makes it to where the water is inaccessible when they get rid of the hole. So I had to put a bunch of larger rocks around here so that they couldn't bury their water source, and it seems to be working pretty good. They've still kicked quite a bit in there. You can see they dug a hole right here. They've kind of torn this area up a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. They're just kind of weeding the creek for me, which is nice. I would like for them to stop ruining their water supply. That's the only thing. I don't like having to redo work over and over and over. So, moving on. We've got Creeping Jenny coming back, elephant ear, jasmine, even sending out some flower buds. The mint is really taking over this area. And then into the food forest. So you can see the strawberries from this side. There's one starting to blush over there. And then this one is half red, not quite ready. Everything's really starting to leaf out and seeing some nice growth on things. Even the touch-me-not has come back. So we started making salads, and it doesn't take cutting much off the top of this to get a nice salad. And it's already starting to grow back right here where we did a cut, and we have all of this. So basically we can eat salad every day now without much issue. Lots of radishes coming up in here. I sprinkled tons of seed for it. The 18-day French breakfast radish. It has lots of names. Those other seedlings I planted, bok choy, komatsuna, red mustard, are coming up. Not really sure what this is. I have to try to ID that one. I don't think it's something I planted. Anyway, I guess that takes us to the end of the tour. I promise I'll get that tree planting video up for y'all soon. Wait, did I walk right past the avocado and not even mention it? Because we totally just planted the avocado. I think I did do that. The avocado's here at the front of the food forest. And I always plant trees. A little sneak peek at the tree planting video. I always plant trees on a mound, but it's still at the soil level that it was for the nursery. And I do that for a few reasons. One, our clay soil will drown your trees. Don't try to plant trees straight into the soil here. So I laid cardboard and then a lot of compost, let it sit, and then eventually planted the tree here. Another reason is that I'm constantly going to be adding wood chips back here. Every couple years I'll add another layer of wood chips, and as the soil level and wood chip level rise from building carbon and this just decaying over time, this will become in a cavity and the water will drain down there and eventually rot. So you want to give it a head start and have it elevated from your base, so that for the eventuality in a few years when it might be even with the base, and then a few years later when it might be below the base. So just some thought into why I plant that way here, and it seemed to work really, really well so far. So no complaints from these trees. All super happy.